This is probably one of the most unexpected things you can find in the North Georgia mountains, where the gas stations are few and far between and the fields and mountains stretch as far as the eye can see. Helen, an old Bavarian town up in the mountains, a slice of old Germany in America's backcountry. I've ridden the curves up in North Georgia plenty of times, but I've only come to Helen a few times, usually with family, as both my dad and father-in-law love Helen. Maybe it's a dad thing. After my first couple of road trips just a few months ago, and now that I no longer commute to work on a bike, I got the bug for road trips. Today won't be a body-beating 10-hour highway ride like the last two trips. Today will be a day trip with a scenic ride up to see this Bavarian town. The last time I had been there with family, I remembered how it felt like a slice out of Bavaria, Germany. Not only because of the architecture and murals, but because many Germans had come to open restaurants, chocolate shops, gift shops, and I wondered how this piece of Bavaria had come here to be a town of 430 people in the Georgia mountains. I read about Native Americans, gold miners, and loggers that had come and gone, and brief mentions about local businessmen and an artist that worked together to spruce up the town for tourists on the way up to the mountains. And then I found this gem.
And they were interested in getting some paint colors to make the village look sharp, to stop some of the tourists on their way to the new Unicoi Park Lodge.
The story of the man who painted what Helen would become, John Colick. It turned out he wasn't German at all.
I agreed to look things over. On one foggy, wet December day, I went to Helen. To me, in the mist, it looked like one of those little villages I had known when I was stationed in Bavaria during the Korean conflict.
Between his time in Germany, experience in set design,
that and a lot of imagination prompted me to do a bunch of watercolor drawings of what I thought this little town could look like with a bit of facelifting. The next weekend I presented a folder of photos of the town as it looked and sketches of what it could be with a little creative work.
He didn't know those businessmen would go to town on it. Pun intended. Since then, Helen has become the third most visited town in Georgia, attracting people for Oktoberfest, balloon races, and the occasional motorcyclist passing through for some curves. When there was a randomly warm day in December, I decided to take this bike I was borrowing to review and get some authentic German food. Today it is December 4th, and it is gonna be a high of 70 today. So obviously I need to go riding. Right now it's 52, so I got my shirt that heats up, my heated gloves, get some authentic German food for lunch. Best German food in Helen, Georgia. Bodense? Muller's famous fried cheese. Oh my God. Am I recording? Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting somewhere kind of close to when I plan to get there. This is incredible. I mapped a 212-mile route that would take me on winding scenic roads to get there and get home before sunset. At least, that was my plan. City of Helen, city limits. I think this is my 30th time coming up to ride the mountain curves, and I was wondering why I hadn't come here more. And then I remembered.
Not full. Look at all this traffic. What have I done?
Helen's usually pretty busy, especially on a nice day like today. But isn't it so pretty?
Yeah, I bet I could park along that wall.
Don't slip on these leaves. Perfect. So it looks like I'm only 0.2 miles away. It is, see all that red? That's what Helen looks like pretty much all the time. So I'm gonna walk through that part. Beep, beep.
I will have your Jaeger Schnitzel. Jaeger Schnitzel? Yeah.
Hopefully my food survives the ride home. So it's like 2:20 and in order to get home by dark I need to leave at 3. I'm going to walk around town just a little bit so I can show you my favorite parts about it. Then after that I won't have time to just meander around the curves like I had hoped I could, but I can make my way back being mostly on curves, so that's my plan. I had a feeling someone would do that, but I think I can still get out. I'm really missing those Harley hard cases now. And now, to squeeze in some curves before the sunset. And thanks to some hikers, for the first time in 5 years of coming up here, I actually got a picture on my favorite spot here, not on a selfie stick. It's getting so cold, the sun is already so low, so I'm just gonna go home the second fastest way. The first fastest would be on the highway, the second fastest would be on the back road highway, I don't know what to call it, but I'm gonna go that way instead of making my 2 curvier stops, but I'll still get plenty of curves on the way down, so yeah, let's go. It's cold. Whew. How did that happen so fast? Who knew what unexpected things can be just a couple hours away, practically in your own backyard? The ride home was a race against the sunset. And even if I had to cut time on the highway, at least my leftovers survived. Well, sort of.
Where'd you go in Helen?
I forgot.